windows up here. It's kind of loud. How's everybody doing? I thought I'd try something different. I wanted to check some stuff underneath the hood. I actually wanted to clean my windshield wiper blades. This morning there was quite a bit of rain and I had a lot of streaking going on, so every now and then I get a damp paper towel with some either WD-40 or a very small amount of rubbing alcohol, because I don't want the alcohol to like deteriorate the blade, but I clean it. And then I have a bolt that I can't get out of the top part of my cool air intake box, or whatever the hell you call it. I'm trying to replace my air filter and I can't get this son of a gun out. So yeah, currently sitting here in a dock getting unloaded. How's everybody doing? I can't even see the comments because of the position of the sun. Oh, maybe if I go like this. Use your brain. All right, let's see. Nope. There we go. Maybe I can see it better now. No, I still can't. Whatever. Tell you what. How's everybody doing? Say hello to a couple of people. This Trucking Life's in the house. Cheap Freight Hauler's in the house. Barry's in the house. Josh is in the house. Edward. Hood is always open when a Cummins is under it. Haha. Good one, Cheap Freight Hauler. That's actually pretty good, actually. I like that. Better than an A26 International, though. You know what, Josh? I have heard nothing but good things about the A26, to be honest with you. I don't have... What do I do with my cat? I don't have a lot of experience with the A26, personally, but I do have a buddy that has two Internationals that have... Maybe it's three. I think it's 3 Internationals with the A26, and then he just purchased one of the fully integrated Internationals with the, is it the S13? Jerome Jones is in the house. Your mom's favorite railroader. Good morning. Eddie's in the house. Good morning. Yeah. Like I said, I just thought I'd go live real quick. It's been a minute since I went live. Maybe I'll go live later too. It's always something. Always something. Now my GPS is falling out the window, or falling off the window. You know how you fix that? Little hack for you. I'm sure you all know this, right? So after a while, like, obviously it doesn't get sticky, right? These little window things. If you want to get this sticky again, put it under some warm water with some soap, and then dry it. And it'll stick to your window again. I don't need it on my window though. I hardly use this anymore. Most of the places I go to, I know where I'm going, so I don't know why I still, well, occasionally I go to places I don't know where I'm going, so that's why I have the GPS. We'll set it there for right now. Oh, I should actually wear my new hat. Hold on a second. Look at this new hat. Driving with John. I ran into a famous YouTuber the other day at a truck stop, and he gave me this hat. So everybody go check out Driving with John. He's on YouTube. He's, I don't know, got like 180,000 subscribers or something. Famous, super famous. But I ran into him and he gave me a hat. So thank you, John. Appreciate the hat. I really don't know much about them. I've been happy with my Cummins. Yeah, I like the Cummins. We'll chop that video up. I do like this engine. Downside is, you sacrifice some things, you know what I mean? You do sacrifice fuel economy over like the A26 or over the Detroit. I got, the reason I really went with this truck is before I became an owner operator, you know, I was a company guy for over 20 years, about 20 years. And I would say 16 to 18 years of that, every engine was a Cummins engine. I take that back. When I started, a lot of the engines were Cat. And then as things changed in trucking over my years, you know what I mean, going from automatics to manuals, emissions and things like that, it was mainly Cummins engines that I drove and dealt with. I never really worked on them because I couldn't. The companies I worked for wouldn't allow the drivers to really do much to the trucks. One company I worked for wouldn't even allow you to add oil or antifreeze. If you did a pre-trip, because this was when I was a local driver, so I was pulling out of the same yard every morning. And every morning when you did your pre-trip, if you needed oil or antifreeze, you had to tell the mechanic and they'd come out and fill it up for you. The only time I really got to work on my equipment when I was a company driver is when I worked out in the oil fields. And mainly a lot of that stuff was just filters, brake chambers, air lines, kind of simple stuff. I'm sleeping. Cheap Freight Hauler says, mine always falls off while I'm sleeping. Scaring the crap out of me. Falls off. You mean, oh yeah, the GPS. Yeah, man, mine does it occasionally. Like I said, I don't know, with all the tools that are on, like for apps, Cash is King told me about an app that I was using for a while. I can't remember what it's called now. But it was a trucker app. I think it cost like, I don't know, maybe $10 a month or something like that. A navigation app. It worked really, really well. Like I said, very seldom am I going places where I need my GPS. I typically know where I'm going because I'm so familiar with the lanes I run, and I kind of run a lot of just the same freight. Okay. He ain't gonna come by me. He ain't gonna hit me. Barry says the A26 was modeled off of a Cat design, but International started selling it knowing they didn't have emissions perfected. Almost bankrupted them. I think you're talking about the Max Force engine, Barry. I don't think you're talking about the A26. The A26 is a fairly newer engine. I think you're talking about the Max Force engine. Which was, you know, what would you say, probably 6 years ago, 5, 6, 7 years ago, probably even longer than that, honestly. Max Force engine was like International's big attempt to come out with their own engine, so it was quite a while ago. But I think you could get a Max Force engine up until probably about 5 or 6 years ago. The A26 was their second attempt, and I did hear that they did have some like piston issues, I believe, but International got right on top of that and basically just, if you had one of those trucks, it was a certain amount of like serial numbers, you immediately got an overhaul. International paid for it and everything was fine after that. And like I said, I know a buddy, my buddy's got, I think he's got 3 of them with A26 motors in them, and he likes them. Your mom's favorite railroader says, I'm leaving the railroad to go to Prime Incorporated and start my YouTube career. Gonna make way more money. You know what? I'm not a big YouTuber, and that's one of the reasons I'm not a big YouTuber. I don't work for a mega carrier, and I'm not trying to sell, you know, what do you call those? Referral bonuses. I wouldn't leave the railroad. My grandfather actually rest his soul, retired from the railroad. He worked on the railroad up in northern Minnesota for, I think he started when he was like 17 or 16 years old, back in the day when you just finished like 7th grade in school and had to go to work to support your family, you know what I mean? My grandfather worked on the railroad his entire life. Yeah, it was a good job for him. Give it the Hawk Tui, it should stick. I like that one, Jerome. That's quite funny. Hammer. No, it wasn't Hammer. That is one. I wish I could. I don't want to screw this up right now. Hammer is one of the things that you can use. Cheap Freight Hauler, one of the apps, but that's not the one. It was a different one. It's called like Smart Trucking. That's not it. Something like that though. I don't remember which one. Nope, not Trucker Path. Trucker Path isn't bad. I used to use Trucker Path. I did where I think I got like 1 week free, and then I paid for 1 month just to try it out, and I actually liked it. If I was going to a lot of places that I'm not familiar with, that's probably, well, the other thing I would like to have is I'd like to get a tablet installed in my truck and kind of run all my ELD and navigation off of that tablet. If I do that, I might do the Trucker Path or this other app that I was talking about. I just don't see the point in paying for that service right now because I don't use it enough, and I'm cheap. I don't know what else to say. I'm cheap. 7 C's is in the house. Good morning. A26 equals attempt 26. I like that. You're on one this morning, Cheap Freight Hauler. That's for sure. Aaron's in the house. Good morning. How are you, sir? I'm out of coffee. That soda didn't taste very well. They're very good. I do have this sparkling water, orange. Maybe I'll have this. Whoa! I bought it this morning. I had to, what time did I wake up? I woke up at like midnight, and I had 5.5 hour drive to get to where I currently am. And I bought a couple of drinks and some water, but the only thing I really drank is my big cup of coffee. I didn't drink anything else. Maybe that's why I feel dehydrated. Although I don't think coffee dehydrates you, does it? I think I read somewhere that coffee doesn't dehydrate you. I'm probably wrong. Let's be honest. I'm probably 99% wrong, but I don't think plain black coffee dehydrates you. I don't put sugar or anything in my coffee. I like my coffee black, so obviously caffeine, but does caffeine dehydrate you? I don't think so. What do I know? I'm just a dumb trucker. Jerome Jones says, are you talking about Hammer, the trucker GPS? So that is one of the apps. That's not the one I'm talking about though. I know Cash uses that too, but Cash was telling me about another one that I downloaded, and I know that I used it for a month. Like I said, I don't remember how much it was. It wasn't super expensive. I just don't really have a need. I really don't have a need for a GPS. Like I said, a lot of things I do, I'm very familiar with where I am. Like where I am right now is in Maryland. I would consider this like northwestern Maryland, and I'm going up to over by like Harrisburg, Pennsylvania after this. So I know the route I need to take when I leave here to get to Harrisburg. You know what I mean? I won't be using any type of GPS because I've done that so many times that actually I know 3 ways I can get to my next pickup. So, you know, but I know Hammer is an app you can use for a trucker GPS, trucker path. I believe this was like smart trucking. I don't know why that doesn't seem to make, because isn't smart trucking like, maybe I'm thinking of Let's Truck, is that one guy's like web page. Maybe I don't remember. I'm dumb. Fade, I'm gonna need some drive tires. What are you running? I run the Yokohama. I actually like Yokohama tires. I do not have them as drive tires right now on this truck. Normally I have Yokohama around the whole truck, steers and drives. But I got a really good deal on the drive tires that are on here. I think they're called Galaxies. They're a fuel efficient tire, low rolling resistant. One of, actually a subscriber of mine, somebody that I haul freight for, out here on the East Coast, works with like, has a big fleet, so he gets very good deals on things, and he ended up getting me a set of 8 drive tires probably 6-7 months ago for a very good price. I couldn't pass it up. I think when I priced out my Yokohamas with the national discount that the carrier I'm leased onto offers, I think they were like $3,500 or $3,600. I got these tires for $2,500. So far they've been good. But yeah, I got Yokohama steers. I really like those. Yeah, coffee's got water in it. I know that. I'm just wondering, like, if the bean... I really don't think coffee dehydrates you. I don't think it hydrates you, but I don't think it dehydrates... Well, that's so stupid. I gotta stop and think before I speak sometimes. Yeah. I will say, kind of the diet that I eat, I gotta make sure I take in enough sodium. I sometimes add salt to my water to make sure I get enough electrolytes. That sounds dumb, but that's actually a thing you should do. Like, if you're working outside a lot and stuff like that, I mean, your Gatorades and things like that are good, but they're loaded with sugar. Sugar dehydrates you, and your body needs salt. So a lot of times when I'm drinking water, like my big bottles of water like this, I'll add some salt to it. Not enough to where you can really taste it, but enough that keeps me hydrated. Barry says, tablet too expensive. I seem to remember a guy buying a very expensive hotspot a while back. Can't remember who. Do you recall? Barry, are you talking about this damn thing? You talking about this damn thing right here? $500 I paid. It works. I still use it. Way too expensive though. This was Verizon's hotspot, and I don't know why I thought I needed it, but I bought it. Anyways, your mama, I almost said your mama's. Your mom's favorite railroad. Was he with a class 1 railroad? So I don't know what the classes are. You know, my grandfather died, probably 10 years ago now, 11 years ago. And he was already retired. Like, my grandfather was, guys, probably longer than that. My grandfather was old, like, when I was young, if that makes sense. I do remember him having his retirement party when I was probably, like, 6. I know it was like one of the, like I want to say like Burlington Railroad is who he worked for, and it was in northern Minnesota. And I remember I think it was Burlington Green. I want to say the watch that they gave him when he retired, he got like a Rolex watch, and on the inside the watch, I don't know what you call that, the plate or something, it had like a green locomotive on it. But yeah, I don't know the classes of railroads, so I don't know if that counts. FYI, Amazon 10-inch tablet at Target is $75. Pretty nice. Okay, I'll have to check that out. Like I said, I just think it'd be better than running everything off my phone. I got 2 phones. I don't really need 2 phones. Well, I do have 2 phones. One phone is business phone, other phone is personal phone. So I will keep 2 phones. I would just like to have a tablet. Shannon Thomas Trucking's in the house. Good morning, Shannon. How are you? Barry saying hello. You drink your coffee black. Do you need a hug? You know what, man? It's the first like big boy job I ever had, right? I worked for a construction supply company, and it was some of the hardest work I ever did in my life. It was delivering drywall, structural steel, tape, mud, you name it, we delivered it. And we had this big coffee pot in the break room. And every morning, I started so young in that industry that I'll just be honest. I wanted to be like the guys that were training me, and they always just grabbed their big thermos and filled it with black coffee, and that's what they drank. It took me a long time to get used to that. I used to be a guy that would want like vanilla creamer. I might as well be drinking a milkshake. But over the years, like there's certain types of coffee I really like. Like if I can get, have you guys seen like Jamaican Me Crazy? I love that coffee. I like a good, like mild Ethiopian coffee. Obviously, that stuff's tough to find in truck stops. I will say Road Ranger, in my opinion, has like the best like trucker style coffee, you know what I mean? You can actually find Jamaican Me Crazy and City Brew, I think it's called, which is pretty good. I like the flavor of black coffee, as long as it's not like burnt, if that makes any sense. Oh man, I skipped a bunch. Aaron says, my truck came with Yokohama from the factory. Best tires I've ever ran. Yeah, I happen to like them. I'm not going to say they're the best, because here's the thing. You know, we're in year 5. God, that's crazy. It's crazy to think it's been 5 years already. And a lot of the advice and a lot of things I've done over the first 5 years was just taking information from like Cash is King and DIY Semi. I can't be any more transparent than that. And DIY Semi is kind of big on Yokohama tires. So when I needed tires the first time on the Mac, he was the one that was like, hey, let's get Yokohama. I was thinking Michelin, just because that's what like Cash runs. So like I kind of just followed the tutelage of Cash and DIY Semi. And then over, you know, let's see, I've gone through steers. I've replaced steers on this truck twice. I replaced steers on the Mac twice. I've replaced drives on the Mac twice. That was all Yokohama. I've replaced drives on this truck once. And like I said, I went with these Galaxies, and they're not a bad tire. I think I might be able to get maybe a little bit better fuel economy with the Yokohamas, The other thing, these tires, they're Galaxies, I believe. They don't ride as nice, if that makes sense. They're a little bit more vibration-y, if that makes any sense. But I happen to like Yokohama, so I do agree with you, Aaron. Cheap Freight Holler says, mine came with Bridgestones. I've got 214,000 miles on them, thinking either Michelin or Yokohama. I mean, if you have 215,000 miles on Bridgestone, why aren't you thinking Bridgestone again? You know, that's me like asking a serious question. I know, what is that, the Michelin Energy Force or whatever it's called. Like, those are really, really good low resistant drive tires. Michelin X1 or whatever they're called. Yokohama, I forget what like the brand or whatever you call it of the Yokohama tire was that I run. But I liked them. No, I don't know enough yet. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm also a creature of habit. Like, and as long as prices don't change dramatically, I'll probably just stay with the same thing I've done. Like I said, the reason I put these drive tires on is we were talking like $1,500 to $1,700 difference in just the price of the tire. And then I was at their shop when I decided to get the new tires, so we just did them. We replaced the tires ourselves. You know what I mean? Took the tires, the wheels off the truck, brought them into the shop. They didn't charge me to mount the tire. Like, I just saved so much money doing it that way that's why I chose these. Barry says, coffee is high in caffeine, and caffeine is known as a diuretic, so it will pull a little water from you. Okay. All right. I gotta believe it's still better than drinking like soda and stuff, right? You know, my wife was just telling me, because I'm not diabetic, right? But diabetes runs in my family. I'm not diabetic, but I grew up like not drinking. I mean, we had soda at the house, we had some pop at the house, but a lot of the soda or pop that we had, it wasn't super high in, it'd be like your clear sodas, your 7-Ups. Obviously we like had root beer, but a lot of it was diet and stuff like that because people in my family have diabetes. So I drink 0 sugar sodas, and I forget what the sweetener is, but my wife is like kind of against me drinking this type of aspartame or whatever it is. I know that's in diet sodas. I don't know if that's in 0 sugar. I don't know what the sweetener is, and I can't read it. I'm getting old. Yeah, I can't read the back of that label. I'm getting too old. Trucking with MC's in the house. What's going on, brother? How are you? I haven't heard from you in a long time. Hope everything's good with you, bro. People saying hi to each other. In Georgia, getting loaded. Saying hi to people. Barry says Michelin is the benchmark. Better have a fat wallet though. Yeah, my wallet. I do have some money in my wallet. Let's see how much. Uh-oh. It's all ones. What was I? Should I make it rain? Make it rain ones? I'm a broke trucker. Wonder why I have all these ones. Where was I? I'm joking, honey, if you're watching this. Yeah, I try and keep as much money in my pocket, Barry, as I possibly can. Yeah, so is Burlington Northern Santa Fe, like back in the day, did they have like green style locomotives? Or maybe that was just what was on his watch. I just remember that. And I remember like a couple of green models, I guess they were, you know, like those scale models. They make them for like race car. Well, they make them for everything. but there was like a couple of scale model locomotives like in my grandparents' house. Matter of fact, I think they had a phone, if I remember right. They had a phone that was like a train whistle. It would scare the hell out of you when you were young. And loud as hell too. They had to shut it off at night. Cheap Freight Holler says, waiting to get prices on the Bridgestone, about $600 each for the Michelin. Yeah, that sounds about right. Man, that's expensive though, isn't it? I have super singles on my trailer, and I just bought a new super single tire for one of the axles, and that with my discount was $735. Maybe it was $45. I know it was way more than I thought it was going to be. But I haven't had to replace. My trailer doesn't eat up tires the way a couple other contractors that are leased on here. They have trailers that they're going through tires on their trailers every couple of months. I've owned this trailer for like 2.5 years. That is the first tire that I've replaced. I think in the next couple of months I'm gonna do the other 3. Just because I like to have all matching tires. I don't really know why, but it's just how I'm built. Barry says, soda is full of high fructose corn syrup, which makes it much worse than coffee, but I refuse to give up my Mountain Dew. Yeah, Mountain Dew wasn't bad in the day. I used to drink Mountain Dew. Not a lot of it, but I did used to drink it. The other thing was, growing up, like when I was younger, like, I mean, I didn't really care about like physique or anything like that. I just, I played sports. I played football. I played hockey. We worked out. We did training. Like, soda back then, like, even our coaches would be like, hey, don't drink as much pop. Don't drink a lot of sugar stuff. You know what I mean? Maintain your weight. You know what I mean? Especially when I wrestled. I did wrestle for a very short time, and that was very tough, because that was, you were dropping weight or gaining weight. You know what I mean? Like, you were the weight class that I was in. Like, I was always adding a couple of pounds or always losing a couple of pounds. It was hell, to be honest. And I wasn't very good at it. Some of the most strongest, mentally disciplined people I know in my life are wrestlers. By far. By far. My mom's favorite railroader says, it's a good career. Lucky I'm single, so I don't care about schedules. It's not really a buddy. So my ex-sister-in-law, her sister married a guy that works on the railroad. He's a engineer. Is that the right word? Like, he's a conductor. Like, he drives them. He works in Duluth, Minnesota. I wish I could remember where he said he went. I think it's Michigan. But he's got I remember him one year sitting at like Christmas dinner or something like that, him telling me about his schedule, but he made a ton of money. He had a weird schedule, like even days that he was off, he was on call and would have to go in and things like that. But maybe that's because at the time he was so low on the totem pole, which now if he stayed with that job, I mean, you're talking, man, he's been with that job 20 some years. Hopefully he did. I never, obviously I never spoke to him again after my ex-wife and I separated. Barry says, dude, that wasn't even high humidity. Better get to work. I forgot what I said. high humidity. Talking about wrestling. Okay, Burlington Northern was green. Well, that's who he worked for. Then I remember that. I have very sporadic memories of like my childhood up at their place. They lived up on the Iron Range of Minnesota, and I would go up there in the summer times for like a week at a time, you know, once or twice a summer when we didn't have school. But then as I got older, I played hockey year round. So like, and I traveled. It wasn't just like, oh, you're going to play summer hockey once a week. Like I would leave the state, and leave the country. So like when I got older, it's sad to say, I didn't spend a lot of time up at my grandparents' place the older I got, just because I was so busy all the time. Trucking with MC. Yeah. How do you become a trucker? Where do you go? So I became a trucker the old school way, man. Hold on a second. I don't even know if this thing's working. I became a trucker the old school way, man. I worked for a company and they trained me. I don't even know if you can do that anymore. I think you have to go to truck driving school now, find a truck driving school. There are mega carriers that have their own schooling. You could always sign up with one of them and have them pay for your school, and you sign some sort of contract to work with them for a year or whatever. Full disclosure, I don't recommend that. The reason I don't recommend that is I recommend paying for your own truck driving school. It is expensive, but then you don't have a company that can control you. You know what I mean? If you're not happy, you can just leave. You know, that's what I would do. People saying hi to each other, pounding the pavement. Barry says, I realize you aren't very overly political, but generally speaking, as a businessman, do you feel trucking industry will improve with Republican back in office? I don't think trucking's been bad at all. That doesn't mean I support the current administration. No, I don't talk a lot politically on my channel because, I mean, I'll share this with you. Neither one of the candidates in this election cycle got my support. I did vote, but I tend to be more libertarian than anything. I do lean left on a lot of social things, and I think that's okay. Listen, that's a weird subject for me, Barry. I'm not trying to dodge your question, but I am dodging it. I get it. I don't believe anybody has our best interest in mind. You know, you could make an argument before what happened with all the shutdowns. Trucking wasn't in a very good place at that point. At that point, there was a Republican in office. Then we had, you know, everything that happened in this country with the shutdowns and everything. Demand skyrocketed, and we made a ton of money. I look at, you know, the last 2.5 years, 3 years, and, you know, it's been good and it's been hard, but that's business. Like, I don't think one person sitting in an executive office dictates how well my business does. Will I receive certain tax breaks with certain people in office? Absolutely. You know what I mean? Typically, the person with an R behind their name, we see a little bit of tax breaks. You know, trucking, I don't know if it's as much the trucking industry that needs to get better. It's our country that needs to get better, if that makes sense at all. And like I said, I don't believe any politician has my best interests in mind. Absolutely not. I tend to agree a lot with Cash on, like, we sold out. Like, I think if you follow the money, that's what's good. Follow the money. How do you become a trucker? I just answered that. Go to truck driving school. Go to a mega carrier. I think the way that I became a trucker doesn't exist anymore. You know what I mean? I started as a helper, meaning I rode in the passenger seat with the guy that drove the truck. And after a year of doing that, he convinced me to get my CDL license to make more money. But mind you, I was 19 years old, guys. I was still playing hockey. I was playing junior hockey. So, like, I was up late at night. I would play cards with my buddies late at night. So when I would get to work in the morning and climb in the truck, I would go to sleep. I thought I made pretty good money back then for, like, being able to sleep while the truck was rolling down the road. But he convinced me to go out and get my CDL, and the guy that was my driver for a year, he's the guy that trained me on driving these style of trucks, you know. He's passed away. He died of cancer at a young age. But yeah, I think the way that I became a trucker is, like, no longer in existence, unless you're like a farmer or something. You know what I mean? I think majority of people that become truck drivers nowadays have to go to truck driving school. Gene's in the house. What up, buddy? What up, buddy? Haven't been a while. Been busy. Had to make jump running for national carriers. Great company. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you, and congratulations for you running as hard as you are. Trucking with MC says, get your CDL and start calling companies that hire people starting out. Yeah, that's the other thing. You're going to have to find there are companies that hire new CDL holders. Keep looking to see if I've been here a long time. What time is it? It's almost 11. I've been here since 8 o'clock this morning. Or my appointment was at 8. I got into a dock at 7:15 this morning. Crazy. Your mom's favorite railroader says Burlington Northern was way before my time, but there's a couple of rail fan YouTubers that go in depth with stuff like that. Okay. I don't know much about the railroad. Doc Holiday's in the house. Good morning, sir. Been a while since I've seen you. Hope everything's good with you, bro. Mine looks better. Trucking with MC, just playing, man. That red truck looks good. No, dude. You're talking to cheap freight hauler. I was gonna say my red truck isn't good. My red truck is. This truck is destroyed. I want to make a video on this. I brought this truck in, so I'm at like 490,000 miles now. So I brought this truck in to get an overhead adjustment, but I also had my exhaust manifold, right? So I started hearing a boost leak, and I couldn't find it. Like, for the life of me, I couldn't find it. And then one morning, I was doing my pre-trip, and I noticed that these two huge bolts that are connected to the engine and the exhaust manifold had, like, fallen out or broken, and my exhaust manifold was off of the engine, you know, big enough that you could slide like a credit card through it, right? So that's where my exhaust leak was coming from. So I brought my truck in to get an overhead adjustment. I wanted some new belts, and I said, hey, can you replace all the take off the exhaust manifold, replace all the gaskets, order these bolts for the whole manifold, and put it back on. And they did. Well, as they had it out, I got a phone call from the service manager that said, okay, yeah, this will be done tomorrow. I want you to know that when we took off the exhaust manifold, the tech said he saw coolant in it. So he took off your EGR cooler and it was dry. Well, the little bit of knowledge that I have with these trucks, that immediately I was like, that's like your EGR cooler is where your antifreeze should be in to cool the exhaust before it goes back in. And you shouldn't have coolant in your exhaust manifold unless you have a blown head gasket, which is an overhaul. I mean, you're getting an overhaul at that point. So I asked him, I said, hey, how much is an overhaul? $41,000 was quoted to me on the phone. And he's like, it could go up from there, but it's between $40,000 and $41,000. And I said, okay. I said, do you have a hold on? Do you have a picture of coolant in my exhaust manifold? And then I started thinking, like, if I had a blown head gasket, there's some signs I should see. White smoke being one of them. 2, losing coolant. Like, you have a coolant leak. It might not be on the ground, but it's going into your exhaust manifold and burning off, so it's creating steam, which is what the white smoke is. I don't have that. He's like, no, we didn't take a picture of it. Well, then I started thinking, like, this exhaust manifold issue has been about a week and a half. I'm wondering if moisture got into my exhaust manifold, right? And they just assumed it was coolant. Long story short, I probably will not go back to that shop again because what they charged me to do the work I asked them to do was astronomical, $4,000. I talked them down to $3,700. And then 2, I was like, listen, like, you're telling me that I need an overhaul, that I have a blown head gasket. Why am I not losing coolant? Why don't I have white smoke? Anyways, I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I just chose fix what I asked you to fix, and I'm going to drive the truck. If I have a blown head gasket, I'm gonna lose coolant. I could have coolant that mixes with oil, and I'm gonna see it in my reservoir. It's gonna discolor my coolant. None of that's happening. And the thing is, like, this shop knows me, not like on a super personal level, but they should know better than telling me to spend $40,000. I would let this truck sit, keep making payments on it, and go and buy another truck. Like, I'm not going to do an overhaul on this engine. Just ain't going to happen. Barry says, fair enough, good answer, actually. Many say different things about the government interaction in truck. Yeah, hey, you want to, call a spade, like, look at all the truck parking we've gotten lately. You know what I mean? And you can say negative things about the infrastructure bill and all that, but, like, drive down, what is that, 65 in Indiana? Like, they've made those rest areas 4 times the size they were. In Minnesota, they're working on the rest areas and making more trucking available parking. Do I think that fixes the problem? No. I think it's, like, what would you call that? Putting a Band-Aid on a, gushing wound, you know what I mean? So, I just hope things, you know what I really want, Barry, if you're still in here? And I say this with the utmost respect to people, and if I offend you in any way, I apologize. I hope we can heal as a country. And what do I mean by that? I know people that have gotten divorces over taking the vaccine. I know people that no longer talk to their family members because of who they support. That's effing crazy, people. That's crazy. I hope we can look at our neighbors and care for each other instead of attacking each other. You know what I mean? And I don't know where that changed, but somewhere in our political landscape, we think it's okay to attack people no matter what aisle you sit on. And like degrade people. Like, that's not normal. We shouldn't act like that as a society. That's what creates tension and friction between communities and between people. You know, as somebody that has some Christian beliefs, like, we're called to love one another. We're not called to fight each other. We're not called to belittle each other. We're certainly not called to give up marriages over a vaccine, over a political ideology. You know what I mean? At least in my opinion. I believe everybody is entitled to their opinions. I believe they're able to exercise their opinions. I also have the freedom and the right not to agree with them and not be persecuted for it. Just like people shouldn't agree or be persecuted for, you know, my belief structure, if that makes sense. Like, I don't look down on people that have a different opinion than me. We gotta heal as a country. That's where I'm gonna leave this political discussion. We just gotta heal as a country. And that in my mind, I believe both parties have created dissension, and I believe the media looks at it as a payday. If that makes any sense. Good dodge on that question. No, Doc, I'm a dude. You know, I'm a libertarian. It's not hard to figure out who I voted for in this election. You know what I mean? You know, talk about free markets and stuff like that. Part of free markets is traveling in between countries. You know what I mean? Whatever. Truckin City Media's in the house. Good afternoon, brother, or morning. How are you? Sorry I didn't make your live show last night. I had to sleep. Haven't watched it yet either. I have nothing going on after I do this. I have a customer load I'm picking up tomorrow. So I'm going to go to a truck stop, do my laundry, and I'll watch that live show. Everybody go check out Truckin City Media for me real quick. Drop your link if you're still in here, boss man, to your channel. We can make trucking great, right? I think you mean we got to build back trucking better, right? Like I said, everybody go check out Truckin City Media. He is a content creator that's doing live shows like 3 times a week. He has people like on a panel that we discuss topics in trucking. I'm fortunate enough to be one of those people. I think I am the resident libertarian liberal on that channel. And I think it's how discussion should happen. You know what, boss man, what you do, the reason I join your live shows is because everything that I just stated earlier, you follow to a T. You allow voices to speak, whether you agree with them or not. So I implore everybody, is that the right word, to go check out Truckin City Media. Your mom's favorite railroader says, what do you think you'd be doing if you weren't a trucker? So I've had multiple jobs in this. I've been in this industry 25, 26 years. I've been a dispatcher. I've been a driver manager. I've managed warehouses. I've been an inventory control specialist. I've done a lot of things in this industry. Probably be one of those things. I had a dream of like going to college and playing hockey, and I didn't work hard enough to accomplish my dream. Other things were more important than me than like school and things like that. So all I've ever really done is like labor intensive work. You know, I've been in an office before. Those jobs only last about a year. And let me be clear, I've only had like 5 driving jobs over my career. I've worked for very good companies. I've grown with those companies and been put into like management positions. But I always find my way back to the driver's seat. But if I wasn't trucking, maybe following my dad's footsteps, sales, management, you know. How much does it cost to run a license in the US without any employees and with no transactions, just running the company blank? I'm thinking about starting a business in the US. Well, if you start a business and you take revenue from that business, you're an employee, right? Like, I'm an employee of my business. It depends what state you're opening your business in. It depends what type of business, like, what do you call that? Tax? It's not even tax. Like, are you going to be an LLC? Are you going to be an S corp, a C corp? There's so many pros and cons to all of them that you need to do your research and find out what works best for you. If you are basically a sole proprietor, you know, there are some companies that you lease onto that will require you to get some sort of like workman's comp insurance and things like that. I highly recommend doing that, even if a company doesn't force you to. Get some sort of workman's comp insurance and disability insurance, because you never know when you might hurt yourself. And if you are the one earning money for your business, like, you still need to pay all your business bills and everything, and your personal bills. But I mean, I started my LLC cost me, I think it was like $125. Then you go out and get your EIN number, which is free. Now, I don't have my own authority. I run under somebody else's authority, so I didn't have to pay all the fees of getting and obtaining your own authority. Though, you know, there are companies that'll do it for you. You know, you pay them $500-600 and they'll pay, or you're still paying all the other fees on top of them doing all the paperwork for you, all the compliance stuff. Insurance is expensive. You know, I don't know if I'm answering your question. Probably it's I don't know. I don't think it was hard to do. You know, that's just my opinion though. I don't think it was hard, and I happen to live in a state that once you are an established business, every year you have to renew your LLC or your S corp or your C corp, but they don't charge you for it. You just have to go online. Now, people pay for it, but all you really have to do, it takes like 10 minutes. You go online, fill out the information, and move on. Barry says, hey, at least he trained you on how to fix DPF emission or D-rate issues, so you were a good student. That's something I've learned on my own, Barry. We didn't, when I quit working with him, we didn't have emissions trucks. Back when I started, emissions wasn't a thing. I don't think I drove my first emissions truck till like 2010. I mean, I take that back. I drove the emissions trucks that just had like the EGR with the filter. They didn't have DEF and things like that. This is ridiculous. I've been here all day. It's getting hot here too. Sorry if it gets loud. I don't even know if it's going through my mic or the phone. Let me know if it gets super loud. 41K for an overhaul. You can get a bunch of block sealers for that price. Yes, you can. You can. I should find out how many I could get for that. yeah, I'm not going to spend the money on this truck. I actually have something set up that if I start noticing issues, I'm going to park this truck. I'll have to try and sell it to somebody that wants to take it. I don't even think I want to get it fixed, like the side and stuff. You know, I'll sell it for a decent price, and it can be a good parts truck, or somebody could buy a truck and still run it for a while maybe, and I'll just buy another truck. They knew how deep your pockets are. Well, you know what I think it is? I have an account with them, and I think that's part of it, to be honest, Cheap Freight Hauler. I have a credit line with them. You know what I mean? I bring my truck in, I get the work done, they just charge me for it. They charge my account. You know what I mean? It's not like a card on file, like it's an actual account. So yeah, maybe they thought, oh, we'll charge it to their account, he can just pay us back. You know what I mean? It's crazy to think. Yeah. I wish I made that kind of money. You know what? I need to make you a moderator. This is my first time first time, like, remembering how do I do this with pin comment? Oh, here we go. Add as moderator. There we go. You're asking or leaving really good comments today. I appreciate that. Doc says, hey, where are you unloading today? I would consider this northwestern Maryland. Like, I don't want to give away my location quite yet. I would consider this northwest Maryland. Look at a map, and I'm in that northwest part of Maryland, not far from Pennsylvania and West Virginia. Is that West Virginia? Anonymous says, best engine on your opinion, brother. Series 60. Series 60 or the N14. Detroit Series 60, I would say. I have experience with cat motors. I like cat motors. Emissions motors. The only two engines that I have driven or owned with emissions trucks have been Cummins and the MP8. I really like the MP8 engine. I think the MP8 engine is like 1 million to 1.5 million mile engine, like off the line. Around 600,000-700,000 miles, you are going to have to do injectors and cups, but those engines are strong as strong can be. Cummins, I'm thinking this is like, well, obviously, I had a shop just told me I need an overhaul at 500,000 miles. I would say these engines are like 750,000 before you're going to want to do probably an in-frame or something like that. And that's just me reading stuff online. I don't have experience in doing any of that. I think Just Truckin does. Check out Just Truckin's channel, Anonymous. I have the Efficiency series. I believe he has the ISX in his W9. Early prediction on the upcoming college hockey season. Well, that's actually in full effect right now. Gophers, I think, are number 4 they moved up to number 4 in the country. You have Denver. You have Boston. You know, I don't follow college hockey as much as I used to. I know the Gophers lost a couple of players to the Minnesota State University, which is in Mankato, Minnesota, and they're going to be a problem for us, for sure, Mankato. Okay, there's his link to his channel. Everybody go check out Truckin' City Media. I think he means just sitting the business idle. Well, then it's not going to cost you anything. Like, if my business sat idle, it wouldn't cost me anything except the initial, like, filing with my state. Because if my business was sitting idle, I wouldn't have business insurance and things like that, because it's just sitting. So it would cost me nothing. Like, I could open up another LLC today and it would cost me $150, free EIN, and it could sit dormant for years. I would just have to update it every year. Every year I live in Minnesota, every year you have to basically re-register your business, and they ask you, it's like 10, 15 questions. Your income, your annual income, have you added employees, how many employees are working there, things like that. This trucking life says, true words, bro. I think if I was still doing my own thing without disability insurance, I'd be screwed right now. Yeah, you're going through an issue right now with your back. I haven't watched YouTube in a while, so I don't know. I remember you talking in a live show about possibly needing back surgery and things like that. Yeah, like, if you were doing your own thing and you don't have the insurance, like the health insurance and any type of disability insurance, like, you're gonna be screwed. And that's all part of being a business. Like, I mean, I could put a lot more money in my pocket if I didn't, like, when I chose to become an owner-operator, I thought in a way that if I do this, because I have a family and because I believe I'm responsible, I looked at it like, can this be better or offer me the same stuff that I can get as a free agent in trucking? That means health insurance, that means retirement, that means disability insurance, that means all kinds of things that I now have to do for myself. Is this something that I can afford to do? Life insurance, so many things that I'm responsible for now. Which, when I actually look at all the numbers, like, it's right around what I kind of paid working for a company. They charge me for those things. Oh, I thought that was a text. It wasn't. But yeah, you're right. This trucking life, you got to have that stuff. Rowdy? Did I say that right? Probably not. Rowdy Sai? I'm horrible. I'm sorry if I really butchered your name there. Everything costs so much because everyone needs their cut of their money. Yeah, everything is expensive, but I mean, I make the money. You know what I mean? You just have to know what you're willing to spend on. If I had a fleet of trucks, it would probably make sense to, like, do an overhaul. If I had a truck and I thought, this is the last truck I'm going to own, I don't view trucks like that right now. If I ever got, like, the truck that I really, really want, I would view it that way. You know what I mean? And I'd spend the 40 grand on doing an overhaul, because it would be the truck that, I'm going to end my career in. That's not this truck. Well, good morning, Nelson. Welcome. Doc Holiday, Cook, know where you're at. Hagerstown. I'm close to Hagerstown. I'm not in Hagerstown. Well, I'm not far from it either. I'm actually to the, what would that be? I'm to the east of Hagerstown. But I'm not far. So yeah, you looked at a map, or this area from all your years of trucking, that when I say that part of Maryland, that's like the northwest part of Maryland, correct? Your mom's favorite railroader, that's actually kind of interesting. You'd say within trucking, even if you weren't driving, but there's a lot of other aspects to it, so it makes sense. Well, the things that I've done outside of trucking, like, but in this industry, like when I was a driver manager, a warehouse manager, like, dealing with people is very, very difficult. Like, managing people is not an easy task. And the job that I had was a very demanding job and very stressful. And I walked into my boss's office one day after doing that, managing people for about a year and a half, and said this, like, this isn't for me. I didn't like being in an office. You know what I mean? I did like the freedom. Like, I could come and go as I pleased. If I needed to leave early to go to my kid's sporting event or something, I just wrote on on this whiteboard outside of the offices that I was gone and what time I left, and if it was an emergency, give me a call. So I kind of came and went as I pleased, but I also worked a hell of a lot. Like, there was times I would show up at 6 in the morning and I wouldn't leave there until 9, 10 o'clock at night. You know what I mean? Especially when I was hiring a bunch of... The company I worked for, we decided to run basically a second shift, and I was hiring all these new people that really didn't have the experience that they needed, but I needed a second shift crew. So I would stay and train them till 10, 11 o'clock at night, and then I would go home, sleep for a little bit, get back to work. It wasn't easy. It paid good, you know, it paid well. But that's the other thing. A lot of truckers have a misconception, man. Like, we're some of the highest paid people at these companies. Obviously, your CEOs and things like that are making buco bucks, but you know, I was a dispatcher and manager, and the drivers made more than I did. You know what I mean? I got paid very well, but like I said, it came with benefits, meaning I had more freedom than I had ever had in the trucking industry before. If I needed to go home, I had suppliers that would bring me out to lunch, bring me on fishing trips and things like that, stuff that, you know, I saw my dad doing for his clients when I was younger. Like, I was being treated that way, so I enjoyed that stuff. But at the end of the day, sitting in an office all day and stuff like that just wasn't for me. I wanted to be out in the field and out in the trucks. Hold on a second. Yeah, mentors are great, man. I'm a big believer in business. You need to have mentors. You need to have people that you can bounce stuff off of. And it doesn't even have to be in your industry. It can be in something completely different than what you do. This sucks. That might work. Yep, literally can't feel my left leg. And my right is weak. Surgery hopefully before Christmas. Walmart paying for it. Man, that sucks. Sorry to hear about that, but I'm glad Walmart's taking care of you. The animal, are you glad you got your governor back? I happen to like Governor Walz. You know, yeah, I live in Minnesota. You know, no matter where you live, there's problems, animal. No, I don't know. Whatever, it is what it is. That's a good question, though. Are you glad to have your congressman or senator? What was Biden before he was president? Wasn't he a senator or something? I know he was a VP too, but Barry says, if I were to get an MC license but never haul a load, keep it dormant for 2 years, then activate it, would it make it look better to a customer or broker since the number technically isn't a new MC? Well, here's the thing, Barry. You're still going to have to pay insurance on that. Like, you still have to cover, you're still going to pay insurance every single month. There are people that do that. The other downside is, like where we are right now in trucking, a lot of brokers or a lot of these like highway, people that are working with brokers to determine if a carrier is eligible to haul for the broker, like they're going to want to see, they're going to look at that and be like, oh, it's not a brand new MC, but you have no miles driven, because you're going to have to update, is that your URC or whatever every year? No miles driven, no inspections. I don't think it's going to benefit you. Now, let's say if I got my own authority, I would probably let it sit for a month or two, maybe even 3 months, and keep working where I am and just pay the insurance and stuff. That way, when I made a decision to actually go out and start trucking under my own numbers, it has some time, you know what I mean? The rookie trucker's in the house. Boom. What's going on, brother? How are you? Oh, you're a member too. Appreciate that. Animal's a member too. Are you glad you got your governor back? I already answered that one. That was a good one, Animal, by the way. Hell no. Yeah, I know what you're going at. Inspection needed for MC? Well, every time you get an inspection, it's based off of your DOT or not based off of, but it's updated to the Safer website. Let me be clear. Somebody asked a question to a guy that doesn't have his own authority. I'm merely repeating things that I've heard from like mentors of mine. DIY Semi's got great videos on, what to do with your own authority. I know you can pause your authority where you wouldn't have to pay the insurance and stuff like that. I don't think it makes sense to get an MC number and let it sit for 2 years active, because if it's active, you have to update your insurance. So you're paying insurance every month that thing's just sitting. At least that's my understanding. Wow, I caught up. But yeah, the inspections, Trucking City Media, like anytime you give your MC number or your DOT number to a broker, it's basically your MC number. They're checking to see how many inspections you have, how many trucks you have, how many out of services. Idle number may need one. Well, listen, like if I was to start my own authority today, there's lots of brokers. Okay, let's say I started an authority and I'm 6 months in, even a year in, but I have not been pulled into a scale and gotten a level 1, level 3, any type of inspection. There are brokers that aren't going to work with me, that their reasoning for not working with me is I have no inspections on file. You know what I mean? That's a real thing. Go check out Georgia Hotshot. He's dealt with that. South Georgia Hotshot. He's dealt with that. Where brokers haven't worked with them because he didn't have an inspection. You know what I mean? It's not that he's doing anything wrong. He's just not getting inspected. Thought this was going on. Yeah, I tell you what, I'm doing this load and this place is taking forever to unload me today. Should be some detention worked into this. Big detention. I need big money too. Big money. Let's see. It is 11:30 in the morning. I have been in a dock since 7:30. It's absurd. Absurd. I do this load. I've done this load quite a bit. Never like this. There must be something going on inside, which is fine. I don't have anything planned after today. I was hoping to get to a truck stop early, so I can do laundry and stuff like that, because I'm going to stay out running. I've been running for a while now. Money's good, so I'm going to... They're calling me. I don't know if y'all can hear me. I just got a phone call after I was complaining about them. My bills are ready for pickup, so I'm going to end this live stream. I appreciate everybody coming in here. Once again, everybody go check out Trucking City Media. Even if, you know what, let's see, what is today? When he goes live, join and say you came from this channel or whatever. Ask questions. Be part of this cool deal that he's got going on his channel. I hope everybody has a great day. You should tell the broker to get you detention. Yeah, I should. I'm going to call him and scream at him too. I hope everybody has a good day. Take care, guys. Later.